I was thinking we could try a full roast tonight. Yeah, the whole 9 yards. The chicken, potatoes, stuffing, carrots, what else? Yorkshires, and I think that's it. Well, it's a huge dinner, but I want to take advantage of the rest of the day. I don't normally finish this early, and it's been a while since we've made dinner together. It's either I do something with whatever meat's been taken out, or you do, or we order in because we both can't be bothered to cook dinner. I want to do something special today. Well, I think we have a stuffing mix. We have enough potatoes and carrots, so we just need to buy the chicken and Yorkshires. Do you want to check if we have enough gravy? Where are you right now? You don't sound like you're in the apartment. That's not dismissive at all. But yes, I'm on my way out right now. I'll probably be home soon. Do you want to go to the shop together? You can meet me if you want. Oh, great. I'll text you when I'm at the... wait, is that you? Wave a hand? What are you doing here? You know what? Tell me in a second, okay?
Well, this is a surprise. So, you have some explaining to do, I think. And I'm flattered that you want to see me, but what about work? Have you finished for today as well? Well, you have been racing through them, head always down. No neck pains or anything? I needed to give you a massage last week because you pushed yourself. I know you have deadlines that you finish earlier, but there is such a thing called pacing. I guess you're right. More work means more free time. But still, to come all this way to see little old me? No, I'm very grateful. Seeing you after work is a pleasure. Is this the first time you've been here since our date? Wow. It feels like forever, doesn't it? Not for me, no. But being in here every day does remind me of you. Of course. How could it not? So, seeing as it has definitely changed since you've last been here, would you be so kind as to take my arm? I'll give you a personal tour. Not at all. The only thing that's gotten boring is the food selection. Showing you around would be a treat. We'll be fine this time. They can record as much as they want, so you can relax, okay? Work's been good. Apparently they're going to add in a new exhibition this year with the ancient Egyptians. I can get tickets for free, so if you want to go, just let me know. Well, I've heard the next one is going to be about learning hieroglyphics. Maybe. Don't you find it fascinating? Learning a language thousands of years old. And even now we don't know the full breadth of it, but that's the beauty of history. I mean, look at this sarcophagus. And written on it, an extinct language, and yet we have the privilege to see it. We might not know what it says, but it's there, plain as day. True, some people do know. And if I had time, I would definitely want to learn about another dead language. But it's oddly accessible. What do you think it says? It could be a story. who knows? A story about this person's life carried on into the next era. I don't think I have enough importance to warrant my life story being etched on my coffin. Besides, I wonder what it would be for, you know? These kind of civilizations have a reason for everything, and I doubt it's for the future to excavate them. Maybe it could have been a ritual to inform whatever gods about who they were and what they did. I don't know, to judge them upon entry to the next world, or just to share their story. Either way, it makes you wonder. Would you want to go? Okay, I'll book the tickets tomorrow. It's a nice perk to have tickets on standby for the staff. I think history behind a paywall seems a little odd, doesn't it? Why should we pay to see remnants of what's already happened on Earth? But a lot does go into preservation and displaying these priceless artifacts. Sometimes museums are loaned items so they're not withheld in a particular country. It's a fine line, keeping history buried versus finding out what happened. But when I work here, I'm reminded that every day we walk through history, and one day all that we know will be buried, and some society thousands of years from now will unearth us. Maybe. I had a similar talk with the new apprentice, the one that I'm training. He's very passionate about history, which I like, and he asked me questions about the point of museums, or at least what I thought about it. He's the type to ask a lot of questions. Not that I don't like it, but I noticed that my professor came out and it reminded me of university. I loved answering questions and debating with the students. I wasn't expected to know everything, and understanding something together was a great feeling. I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss teaching. I mean, I only did it for a few years, but it felt like my whole life was leading up to it. You know, skipping those years, finishing my degree early, getting everything early, and then to teach early. In my head, it was something I was meant to do, what I used all my time striving for. Hey, look at me. It's been over a year since I left. I know it won't help you if I say to not feel guilty about it anymore, but you don't have to worry about me. I have a good job, a good home. I have you, the one person in my life who is worth fighting for, the one I love. I made my decisions and I have to live with them, and I'm okay with that. Yes. The more I thought about everything, the more I started to understand about myself. I didn't have to conform to the dreams my parents made for me, because that wasn't me. For the longest time, I thought it was. But now I can think for myself. I love history, and now I have the ability to preserve it, to hold it in my hands and appreciate it for what it is. I'm not theorizing about it anymore. It's all right here. I'm sure. I had influence on the future through teaching, and I'm proud to have done that. But now I'm going back to my roots. Well, a marine biologist was one of the first things I wanted to be, but if you think about it, it's still technically history. You're studying biology of sea life, and whatever you formulate is based on observations, but also what's been learned through evolution. I'm a proud nerd. And you were taught by this nerd, so that makes you one by default. Yes, it does. Speaking of your nerdiness, how is your work coming? I imagine you're ahead, right? Really? So you dropped the manuscript to come and see me because it made you feel something good? They must be a good writer to have you stop your work. What genre is it? Oh, sci-fi romance seems to be more trendy nowadays. What is it about? Now that's a good premise. So it's kind of like Interstellar in terms of love exceeding boundaries of time, but the added layer is a child whose destiny is to radicalize the world. I really like that. Oh, that's good. The main character being the one who has to stop this child is a nice twist. And self-fulfilling prophecies are always a treat to read. I'd like to look at it. Or maybe you could read it to me. I've read plenty of things for you. Wouldn't it be nice for you to tell me a story? We could debate about it like before. You found it fun. You were vocal with them, and you liked sharing your opinions. Or if we're going to base it off of that manuscript, then I wonder if our love is the same. Or could be, theoretically. I mean, if we are a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, what if things were different? Do you think we'd still be together? I don't believe things are predestined, but let's entertain it for a minute. If you wore different clothes, I don't think anything would have changed. I was looking at you, and it doesn't matter what you wear. It wouldn't have changed my attraction. Well, you've always been my type, but it was your intellect that really drew me in. Confessing in the essay was what started it all, wasn't it? I didn't know before. I mean, I had an idea, but I didn't want to ponder it. Because I couldn't allow myself to. And it went against my morals. I couldn't think that you felt something for me, so I thought of all other reasons why you looked at me the way you did. Maybe you were tentative. Maybe you were interested in what I had to say. Maybe my hair was at an odd angle, or I had food on my face. Or maybe you just spaced out. Honestly, if you never wrote anything, I think somehow we still would have made it here. I do believe that. Well, that's the debatable part. It's possible that during my tenure as your professor, we would have gotten closer, but not too close. Perhaps acknowledged our feelings for one another, but never acted on them. After your graduation, if we'd started dating then, I might have still been there. That would have been the slower process. it might have been just as sweet, and the longing would have been almost unbearable, but in the end, I think we would have found each other. True, you chose the expedited version of events. Your boldness won this time. A different path, you mean, to what we're walking on now? I'd be curious of how different our lives would have been. Our trajectories would be completely altered. Well, mine more than yours. I think you would have still gone down the editorial route, and I wonder what else my life had in store until I went down a path of no return. But to be honest, I wouldn't want to change where I am now. Because say that I never left university. Say that we never got together until after you graduated. I never would have learned who actually supported me when it came down to it. My colleagues talked about me behind my back. Half of the student body were quick to demonize me. But I found Luca, and I found Claire. For you and I, it was a whirlwind of yearning and passion and pure want. The high of a forbidden pleasure was too sweet not to seek out. And through that, I was faced with more than I thought I could handle. I struggled with myself. I struggled with finding the balance between what I wanted and what I needed. And everything with you helped me see something new. For once, I wasn't solely focused on a future I don't think I even wanted. If we never got together when we did, I'd still be blind. We've been through so much, and I think that's made us stronger than ever. I'm glad you think so too. It was all the truth. I felt so much when we were secretly dating, and we both learned how to get through it, how to work through it. We wouldn't have been able to do that if we were smart about it. And this is where we ended up, and I wouldn't change it. Yes, and this museum wouldn't mean as much as it does. Our first date, and now it's my workplace. On this path. This was meant to happen. Even giving you a tour, all meant to be. If you really want to go down that route, then we could assume the same for everything in this building. An item was made, something happened in history, it was forgotten, civilizations lived and died atop it, the world breathed and cried, and then buried it. And then someone researched, and an archaeologist followed that research. They excavated it, and that led to it being here. Exactly. For us to look at and admire. I suppose that was a roundabout way of me saying that the moment we live now is all due to a chain of events that we do and don't have control over. And it makes me wonder what the future will look like with you. You know, what little decisions we make that'll change its course. As of now, we're both doing well. Good paying jobs, in London no less, and that's much more than what others can say. But despite that, we don't have time to do bigger things. I know that you dove straight into work the moment you got the job because you wanted to contribute, and I'm thankful that you are. But don't you think you can slow down a little like you did today? Darling, we barely have time to do what we used to. You know, the movie nights, the game nights, just going out and having a nice walk around the city. Today's an exception, though. I had a shorter shift, and you wanted to see me. Yes, but if it was my usual shift, I would be home just gone 5:30. You'd be working. I'd give you a kiss, and then start dinner. But in reality, I want to pull you from the chair and then drag you all the way to the couch so we can cuddle. Well, I don't want to disturb you when you're in the middle of work. Okay, I have then and again. But I only tease you a little. You know, try to distract you for a few minutes. If you put your pen down and take a couple of breaths and let me give you a few kisses, then that's enough for me. You're almost as much of a workaholic as I am, so I understand. That's why I don't really say anything, because I get it. But don't you think we're at a time in our lives where we can afford to take a break? I think we can. Do you remember when we were having that conversation about taking a holiday to the Caribbean? Why don't we do it? We both deserve that. When I resigned, one of the first things I thought about was taking a long trip to see the world. Of course, it was impulsive, and I knew I wouldn't want to go anywhere without you, so I was more than happy to wait for the right time. And I think this is it. I've saved up. We have enough between us. I haven't used up any of my paid holiday, and neither have you. I think it would be good for us. A change of scenery. A different continent, different climate, different food. See? There's a nice appeal to it. I've never been anywhere that hot, but just thinking about it makes me excited. Well, not just for me. I also want to see you enjoying yourself. In any way you do. If you want to try anything, I'll be there right next to you. Yes, we can try snorkeling, or fishing, hiking to waterfalls. We'll do it all. I can tell from your face you want to do it. Our first holiday together. We deserve it. You want to? As long as you're with me, I know it'll be an experience that won't be forgotten. Which island would you want to visit? Or we could island hop. Well, it's either we focus on one island and explore everything, or we could choose one thing to do or to see on other islands and work our way around. However many days it'll take. I, for one, think that we should have a long holiday, so at least 2 weeks. I don't know if a month is pushing it, but if we're going to more than one island, we'll need it. I think I'll get in touch with Luca about taking care of Oscar and Wilde. I'm sure he'll look after them. Oh, you're right, he does have a cat. I'll probably give him a spare key so he can pop in and feed the fish. I wouldn't want him to do much more than that. I'll talk to him about it later. I don't want to disturb him on his honeymoon. Yes, he got married not long ago. I can't recall if he told me where they went, but I think he deserves it. I'm happy for him too. Do you remember when you were jealous of him at some point? Yes, you were. It was before our first argument, I think. You didn't like the fact that I thought he was cute. I'm pretty sure I said that because you asked me and you didn't like the answer. Just because I appreciate someone else's beauty doesn't mean I don't love you any less. I've never looked at him once the way I look at you. I don't think I've looked at anyone that way. I think that makes you a little special. Oh, you don't? I'm glad to hear it. If you still felt any kind of jealousy, then I'm not doing my job as your lover very well. No, I don't either. I have complete faith in you. And you make sure to let me know how much you love me, so I have no reason to doubt. It won't slow down. Not for me. It might simmer, as all relationships are known to do, but we've been together for this long already, and I'm still head over heels. You're adorable. The next step? Probably the holiday. After that, I suppose we'll see. The cycle of work is a bit cliche, I know, but maybe we could make a few adjustments in our schedule. Like, changing up when we make dinner, what time we go to sleep, scheduling movie nights instead of asking when only one of us is free. You know, if we plan it, then we'll look forward to it. I want to make more time for you. Yeah? Okay. We can do that later today if you want. After we make dinner. I mean, we could go out to eat. But I'd want to change first and look good before we do. Oh, please. This is my work look. I want to put some effort in my appearance, especially if it's a date. Well, I said it's a date. And why not? If you want to go out to dinner, then let's have an impromptu one. Well, the choice is yours. I'll leave it in your hands since it's your proposal. By all means, surprise me. Even now you can. I know you have it in you. Yes, I'm sure. Come on. You can visit me as much as you want. The museum doesn't really change, so I can show you more another time. Besides, I'd much prefer leaving if it means good food, good vibes, and you to share it with. Well, that incident doesn't really bother me anymore. She was disciplined because it was reported, so there's not much point thinking about it. She's probably seething somewhere anyway because you're the one I'm in love with, not her. That smile says it all, doesn't it? I know you're not the type to rub it in her face, but I would have liked to see it. I don't know. I think there's something about seeing you claim me as yours. It's endearing in a strangely attractive way. If you ever feel the need to, you do not need my permission. And if anyone decides to interrupt our dinner tonight, I'll give them more than a piece of my mind. Oh, I'm not kidding. Once is enough. I won't let it happen a second time. I'll get like that only for you. Do you know what you're going to wear? Me neither. What's the time? Well, it's still early, so we can take a little time. You have any ideas on where we're going to eat? I did say that. I'm curious now. It didn't take long for you to choose. Well, you know what I like and what I don't, so I'm not that concerned. And if you prank me, then I'm in charge of the next date, and we'll see what happens. The only way you'll find out is if you actually troll me this time, so the ball's in your court. I guess it depends if you think teasing me will...